right, guys and girls. So a lot of you have been asking about, hey, when are you going to talk more about your radio? You know, you talked about putting in this 10.1 inch touchscreen, and I have done that thing. And it was pretty frustrating for a minute. I'm not going to lie. Like, I definitely had some difficulties getting it set up, and it's not as easy as you think. There are some workarounds, but I literally am ecstatic right now because I've just figured it out. So I wanted to share that stuff with you guys. A lot of this will be pretty general. Like, I have an Xterra, so there is a tip that I'm going to give you if you have an SE like me or an off-road trim or one of the others that have the optional Rockford Fosgate amplified system. You'll know this if you have... It's kind of too dark. If under your driver's seat you have a big gray box, big gray plastic box under there, that's your subwoofer. And then under the passenger seat, I believe, is the amplifier. So either way, if you have the 9-speaker Rockford Fosgate system in the Xterra, then I will give you a tip. It's actually really easy. Everything else wires the same way as a general car. So if you're at all familiar with wiring cars up, then it will be fine. But this will give you a workaround for how to overcome the powered system. I'll go more into depth than that here in a second. But so anyways, this is my Eonon Android head unit. And, you know, again, at first, so I've gone through some love-hate with this thing, and not because it doesn't function or that there's any problems with it, or again, that the installation was particularly difficult. However, when you get it, it has a pretty god-awful, in my opinion, GUI, graphic user interface, right? So it has this setup that's just, it kind of sucks. It's not customizable at all, and I'm kind of a hacker. Like, I don't like to just have this like default system that I have to use, you know, in a certain way. Like, I wanted to be able to like drag new things in and add new apps and customize my background and that sort of stuff. So I did a bunch of research. I've watched a bunch of videos. I've learned a ton of stuff. So again, that is the purpose of this video, is to try and consolidate a lot of that, because honestly, no offense to the other folks that have done videos, thank you to them, because without them I couldn't have done this, but they're very like spread out. Like, some of them give you some tips and others give you other tips, and some of them are 20 minutes long and they just don't have a lot of good helpful content, right? So I'm going to try and keep this pretty short. It's getting dark outside. So I'm going to try and keep it pretty short and just kind of give you the highlights here, but give you everything that you need to know to jump into this radio, customize it pretty easily, and make it your own and make it work really well. So again, I'm going to turn on the truck here. Normally, I would be plugging in, you know, my phone via Carplay. So I'm not going to do that because I'm recording with my phone, but I will still talk you through it and explain everything. Again, if you have an Xterra, I made my own out of camera gear that I happen to have. I made my own sort of phone mount up here, and then I've got a spot for like an action cam, or you could put GPS or another tablet or something up here. I did Dremel a little hole through the back just so that the USB cables could come up from behind it. So this one over here is CarPlay, and this one over here is just for general charging or input, like auxiliary input. For my radio, I mounted my GPS module right there in the middle, and then this one over here is the Wi-Fi. So it will put out like a Wi-Fi signal so you can connect with it and stuff. And then there's my mic. I just wanted to keep the cords pretty short and pretty close to the center there and as clean as possible. So that's the way I did it. You can do it however you want. But so when the unit powers up, mine has been sort of jumping to this like search apps, which is whatever, it's fine. I don't know if it's supposed to do that or not. But so here's what I did, and here's what's kind of cool. So what I recommend, and what I watched in a lot of videos, was get an app called Nova Launcher. Okay, this is what it looks like, but it's called Nova Launcher. The way that you do that, okay, so the first time you're hooking this up, right? If you're an Xterra owner, here's your tip. When you're wiring everything up, everything wires the way you would expect. You know, get a wiring diagram. Actually, if I can find one, I will link to it in the description below just to make things as easy as possible on you guys. But take your wiring diagram and look at the new wiring diagram from the new unit. It doesn't give you very much information, but it will tell you like left front speaker, right front speaker, left rear. You know, it'll give you the stuff that you need. The only thing that's tricky is in any car system that has amplification. So because the Xterras with the Rockford Fosgate system in it have an amplifier, if you just hook the normal stuff up to it, it's going to distort really bad. It's going to sound terrible. And the reason for that is because not only does the head unit push audio signal, it also pushes power, right? Like generally on a non-amplified car, the head unit will produce the power which would, power the speakers. So that is the problem, is then you're pushing signal and power into an amplifier that's then trying to amplify that signal and that power and blow it out to the speakers, and just makes it sound like crap. The workaround is, when you are looking at your wiring harness, your stock wiring harness, there is a blue wire with white stripes on it. This is the key. The blue wire with white stripes on it gets wired into your red constant power. Okay? It's not to your ignition, not to the ground, to the red wire on the head unit. So there will be another red wire. There will be another one that comes from your stock wiring harness into the back of the unit. You wire that together with the blue with white stripe wire, and then wire that to the red into the head unit, and that will solve your problems. That will basically take the power out of it and turn it into a loop, I believe. So when I did that, I re-put the thing back in, hooked it up, and boom, it worked perfectly. So hopefully that's helpful for you if you have an amplified Xterra. All right, back to the general head unit itself. So if you're not here for Xterra stuff, here's your stuff. Stay tuned. Nova Launcher, right? So as I mentioned, you want to get that. What I did was, so this thing works just like an Android device. Now, I'm more of a Mac guy, to be honest with you, but it's very simple. On the stock configuration that it comes with now, which I have overwritten, right? I put this Nova Launcher in. I no longer have the stock OEM stuff. But in that, there is a way to go to the App Store. So basically, you'll see like this logo, right, for the Google Play Store. The way that you can do that, though, is you can, because it's all Android, right? You can see up here this little Wi-Fi symbol, and it has a question mark. I can turn on my hotspot on my phone, or I could connect to my house Wi-Fi if I'm close enough, and you can get on the internet, basically, and then you can just troll around on the App Store, the actual Android App Store, which is awesome. You search for Nova Launcher in here, you download it using the Wi-Fi. Once you have it, then you can launch Nova Launcher. Once you do that, then it gives you some questions and stuff. It asks you how you want to set it up. What do you want to bring in? Are there apps that you want to go ahead and download? So like what I did was I wanted to get a few apps. So I have Netflix in here, right? And I know I sound kind of like amazed. I get that Android head units exist and have for quite a while now, but this is my first one, so it is pretty cool. But so I have Netflix, I have Plex on here, I have Prime Video, I have TikTok on here, because why not, Again, you do have to have a signal for that, right? So most of the time when I'm in the car, I'm probably just going to run CarPlay, to be honest. But there are times where I may just want to use my phone as a hotspot and just watch a show straight off of the head unit if I have a good enough signal. I have unlimited data, 5G. I have an iPhone 12. So it is a little glitchy. It kind of has to build up a buffer sometimes, to be honest, when you're just playing stuff straight through hotspot into the radio. The CarPlay stuff, though, works flawlessly. And again, I can't show you because I'm working on this. But one thing that I will say is I did have a couple times where I would plug it in, and you probably had this on, if you've used any car. My wife has a 2018 Pilot, and half the time that I plug my device into her Apple CarPlay slot, it doesn't recognize my phone or doesn't connect. The bad thing is, the downside to this Nova Launcher is you kind of have to reinstall the apps that you want. So all that default stock stuff that came with it is now hidden. It's not on your home screen. So there are some tricks to this to make it work. And it took me probably about a week of coming out a couple times over the last week and messing with this to figure this out. But I finally figured it out. So again, before I dive into that, just real quick, this stuff works really easily. You can grab stuff, hover over it, move it around. If you move it over top of something else, it lets you make a folder. You click on the three dots to either select apps, which is kind of cool. So then you could go and get more. You kind of have to hold on it for a second, I've noticed. But so I could come in here and find other GPS apps that I have installed on the device, and I could throw them on to or into that folder. Again, once you dump them out onto the desktop, if you have more than one, you can drag them together, and that will make the folder, and then you can click on the name of the folder to change it. So I click on that, and then it'll let me change it, and you can hit enter or back or whatever. All right, so I named it GPS there just by typing it in. Then I've got analytics, which is a GPS test and also torque. I'm probably going to honestly get some Wi-Fi speed test apps just because I want to be able to test that to see if I have enough reception, a good enough signal to run the video apps and stuff. And then in entertainment, So these are apps: Netflix, Prime Video, Plex, and TikTok. Those are all apps that I downloaded out of the App Store. The rest of these are the tricky parts. Those are your OEM. So if you have this exact Eonon or probably a similar Eonon head unit, you need to find these apps if you want to be able to quickly access Bluetooth or your CarPlay. CarPlay is called Phone Link on the Eonon. Or then there's Easy Connection, which is kind of like a screen sharing, like a screen mirroring app. You can download the app on your phone called Easy Connection and then have it on here, and you can connect them wirelessly or wired. I haven't had a ton of luck with it, honestly. It's kind of a junky app, and I don't really have a reason to mirror my phone because I can just run them through here. So, but it could make sense, right? It would be kind of nice. So I may play with that later and get you guys some more info. But here's the cool thing. So these things, I'm going to show you how to get Bluetooth and Phone Link on here, and I'm going to show you where likely other things are. So if there are things that maybe I haven't gotten that I don't care about that you do, I'll show you where you can find them. Okay, so here's the trick. On your dashboard, hold down for a few seconds, and this pops up into this screen. Again, if you're an Android user, sorry that this is simple, you get it. But I'm just going to show you for the Eonon specifically how this works. So what you want to do to access the old default stuff that came with the head unit, like CarPlay, then you want to click on widgets. So you tap it, and it pulls up all these widgets, right? And you've got a bunch of actions and search bars and app folders, and you can put some Chrome stuff. So like you could throw all these on your desktop so you can play with this stuff. You can have email pop up on your home screen if you want. You can have your meetings and stuff pop up. It's really cool. Like this is what's cool about Nova Launcher is it gives you the ability to customize all of your stuff. Okay, like there's Netflix, settings, all this stuff, right? The main thing though, if you're trying to get your Eonon stuff, default stuff, back onto your home screen, is you want to go to activities. Now, when you go to this, what you actually do is you press down and hold, and then it will become like a little widgety thing that you can drag out to your home screen. Okay. Now, once it does that, it's going to load up a screen filled with activities. Now, this is kind of almost like, the way I would describe it is it's like your hard drive, right, on your computer. So this has everything in it. So you can see the apps that I've downloaded, like Amazon Music and stuff live in here, system stuff. I thought maybe Bluetooth tool was how I get my Bluetooth. It is not. That is not the right place. What you want to do to access your Eonon settings stuff is scroll down here to this, com.ts.mainui8. Okay? A little picture of an Android guy next to it. com.ts.mainui8. You'll see there are about 41 things in there. So it's one of the bigger folders. The reason is, again, this houses everything that came on your Eonon device. Now, a lot of this stuff is junk or it just doesn't work. I've tried quite a bit of it. I've not tried aux in, but I probably should because, you know, if I want to use this other one as an auxiliary, I could. There's also AV in, which I imagine would probably work, but you want to play with it for this. This head unit does come with like, you know, red, white, and yellow cables. So if you wanted to plug in like a PlayStation or something, you had a way to power it, you could do that. But so this one right here, this Bluetooth, actually is Bluetooth. This is the one that you want if you want to be able to access, you know, your Bluetooth to listen to music or to make phone calls, that kind of stuff. Here in a second, when I leave this menu, I will go back and I'm going to click on this and also the CarPlay one to kind of show you what happens. But so that is the one that you want in the Eonon if you want to access your Bluetooth from your home screen. So basically, if you click on that, then that becomes that activity out on the dashboard, and then it works just like any other app. You can drag it into folders like I did, or you can leave it on the home screen, or you could drag it into that right-hand sidebar, whatever you want to do. Now, here's the other tricky part. So I tried a ton of stuff. I tried car info. I tried car device because that really looks like it would be, you know, it shows literally a picture of a USB connected to a phone. I was like, that's it. But if you install that, it just says doesn't work or can't confirm device or something like that. And I was super frustrated. So what it actually is, as you go down here for the phone connection, like I said, and I've kind of already shown you this, but it is called Phone Link. So there's the easy connection. So again, that's how I did the easy connection thing. Did the activity and then drug this into it, tapped that, and it became my activity, kind of like a shortcut basically. But if you keep scrolling down here to the P's, right, you'll get down here, MNOP. Phone Link, that right there, that is the key. That is CarPlay, Apple CarPlay. They can't call it that obviously for liability reasons, but it's like the green little CarPlay. It's hard to see because of the screen and it's nighttime, sorry. But phone link is what you're looking for. Again, you click on that and that becomes your activity, okay, which is like a shortcut. So then again, I drug them in here. But so like if I hit Bluetooth right here, boom, it takes me, this is exactly how it is before I put on Nova Launcher. Like this is what the Eonon Bluetooth deal looks like. So now it says it's disconnected, right? Because I'm obviously using my phone for video and audio right now. But so that's how you get to Bluetooth. And then this isn't going to work either because it's not plugged in. Hello. But if I hit phone link and my cord is connected, then it will load up my CarPlay basically right there. Again, apologies if this seems super simple or stupid, but I'm telling you, I watched countless videos. I played with tons and tons of stuff, and I just could not find these settings. So again, hopefully that is helpful for you guys. Again, if you have an Xterra and you're trying to set this stuff up, this should help you immensely. Post up in the comments below, though. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you run into any problems. I'll do my best to remember kind of how this all went and how the install happened so that I can answer any of those. But post up down below. Let me know what you think. And let me know if you have any questions, and I'm happy to help. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time.